we're going to tie this jig. This is one of my pro staff guys' favorite jig, hands down, to use. He calls it the Lemon Crush. I don't quite agree with that name. He likes it. He says it produces. So we are going to tie this up right now. Here it is. We have got a 16th ounce pill head. It's got good flat spots on it for the side, for the eyes. That's why I like the pill heads. You can get away with doing like 5mm eyes. I think I got some out. And I believe we will too. I wasn't sure at first because I went and got some smaller ones. But yeah, a 16th ounce pill head. No, 16th ounce freestyle. I'm sorry, freestyle. It will hold a 5mm eye. I didn't think it would, so I went and got some smaller ones. But we are going to use the 5mm eye because I like it when the eye is just a little bit bigger than the jig head. I like the eyes to kind of like take center stage when it comes to the jig, because it's crazy how much putting the eyes on them makes them stand out, makes them pop. These guys that they're going to is going to Team Livingston. They swear by the eyes. They say they catch most of their crappie with the jigs heads that have the eyes resin coated on. So I'm not going to argue with them. If they want the eyes on them, I'm going to put the eyes on them. I really like doing the hatchet heads, the wedge heads, mainly because I didn't have to fool with the eyes. All I had to do was just put a little UV resin on them and go. But these guys absolutely prefer the eyes on their jigs. So let's get started. And we are using, I'm using 140 denier from Ultra Thread on this one. And the only reason I'm using 140 on it is because I don't have 210 loaded up. I don't know if I've got I got a spool of Danville 210. And actually, I am going to load it up because I like the loon bobbins much better. Sometimes you can take just about any color and make it work. If you tie your jig right, you can take a solid white one, and if you're good and you know how to maneuver it, you can hide the black thread under white chenille if you're careful with your last couple wraps of chenille. And you are going to get to watch me try to thread this without the threader. I think I can do it. I think I can. There's a trick to it. You get it lined up. Sometimes you can suck them through. Started to. I've seen them move. The loon bobbin is the only one that a normal standard bobbin threader don't really work. You really need the one that comes with the loon bobbins. So that kit and everything on here will be on my Amazon, be on the link in the description for my Amazon. The loon bobbin kits come with a threader that will reach the bottom of them. But as you've seen, if you can get it started in there, you can suck it through. It's something you might not want to let everybody else know that you're doing, but you can. It'll work. I did it I did it on YouTube, so if I did it, it's okay. So we are going to start right there behind the head, and we are going to wrap it all the way down to the point of the hook, and then we're going to come back up. And this is where I'm going to be adding 2 different colors of marabou. I've got a smaller profile jig head, so I'm going to have to be a little bit careful on how much marabou I put in this. So am I going to want to use a whole feather, or am I going to want to try to separate off half the feather? But first of all, I don't like this one because it's got those little stemmies on it. Those kind of marabou feathers break really easy. So when you're buying marabou jigs off someone, be forewarned that if you can see those little barbs, those are going to break. They're just going to come right apart in your hand. What you want to look for when you grab your marabou feathers is you want to look for these ones that are straight. They don't have quite all those barbs on it. There's some on these, so I'm going to dig through my pile here, try to find another one. When I do my jigs, I honestly hand select every feather. Not every feather in this is going to make the cut for one of my jigs. I won't use some of them. I mean, I just showed you what happens with some of those marabou feathers, and separated apart here. And I got two really good ones. And the bulk, the majority, 90% of that 1 ounce pack will be good. So if I stretch all that out like I normally would for an 1/8 ounce jig, I'm gonna come off with a pinch about like that. I tie that in there and then go to get the orange, just put it in on top of that. I'm maybe not run out of room, but it's going to start getting really, really bulky. So when I get it like this, I'm going to separate it. I'm going to split it in half somewhere there in the middle. Now you're looking at it thinking, well, that looks too thin. But you're going to want it a little bit thin because you're going to be adding orange to it also. Two-tone jigs with two different colors. You just got to be a little bit conscious of what you're adding to it, and the best way to do that is always add less, because you can go back and add more. But once you get it all wrapped up with your Sally Hansen's and all that stuff on there, if you unwrap it, you're not going to want to reuse those feathers. So start out, we're going to put another layer on top of this. So I want as much of this on the other side of that shank as I can get. So I'm pushing it pretty far down there with my thumb, and I'm going to wrap it. I'm going to go kind of loose. I mean, I'm kind of at that point now to where even if it wasn't going all the way through, I can't go back and stop it because I don't want to take that feather off now because it's got that Sally Hansen's on it, which could be another reason to not use Sally Hansen's, but we did. So we're going to go down to the point of the hook. We're wrapping just a little bit loose, and I'm a little bit short on that. I wish I would have made that just a little bit longer. So we're going to try to fix that with the orange marabou. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm looking for the marabou feather I want to use, and I know there was a bunch in this clump, so we're just going to go straight over to this one. And if you're tying them up for yourself and you're just going to, use them yourself and you're not selling, use those other feathers. They're going to be fine. Not many fish are going to go underneath the water and just pick and pull at those feathers, but there's always that chance they might. Bluegill are notorious for picking out a bait. They'll pick at it until eventually, before you know it, you don't have nothing left. And I've seen them do that even with plastic baits. This is kind of a weird bundle. I can't get it separated right. I think it's folded together. Oh, look at that one. That one is perfect. Flawless feather right there. Flawless. And there's a pretty good chance I'll go back and end up some of the stuff that I don't want to use, might end up using in something else. But since I kind of short-changed it on the chartreuse, we're going to fix that with the orange. So we're going to go, this was a little bit smaller marabou feather than that chartreuse one was. We're going to fix that problem with, put a little more orange than there was chartreuse. So we're going to lay it up there, and I'm going to push it down. I know there was a spot on the other side I'm trying to get covered. Make a big loose lasso right there like that, and then pull it kind of tight. Go back up to your head and then kind of double check everything. It's going to come out good. Sometimes you just got to have faith that it's going to come out the way you want it to. A lot of my jigs have started from nothing but just an idea, and I came home and tied it, and you can barely even see the chartreuse in that. So now we are going to make a 3-tone marabou jig. I'm going to pull out just a little bit more. See, this is why I don't edit stuff. You'll go to a lot of channels where people are tying stuff and they would have edited all that out and then went back to where they tied it perfectly. I don't like doing that. I want you to see the mistakes I make as I go along and show you how I fix them, or if I get to a point where I say, we can't fix that one, let's tie a different one. So we cut off just a little bit more chartreuse, and we're just going to kind of add it right in here. And I still got to put in some flash and chenille. That's what we got so far. It's blending in good. I got a little more chartreuse over here, a little more orange over here, but I'm going to live with it. So now we're going to take our flash, and I found that cheap bundle. It's on that Amazon link. So if you go to the Amazon link in the description, you'll be able to get this flash a whole lot cheaper than going to any store and buying it. For a long time, this was the only thing I got off Amazon, and there's a few things I got off Amazon. But if it's on that link, I use it. So now we're gonna lay our flash on there and kind of spread it around just like I do with my hackle or my marabou. So we're built up kind of thick right there in the body. So we got two choices. We can go use our normal, and I lost the bag to this, but I can't think what the name of it was, but I did buy this at Bass Pro. This came from Bass Pro. We're gonna give it just a couple, call them fake wraps, just to see if it's gonna, I think it'll be all right. But I think we're gonna start our chenille back here in the back, not up here in the front, and then double it. So we're gonna bring our thread back here, and we're gonna catch that chenille in back here in the back. I'm gonna wrap it tight. I wrapped it really tight right there in the middle to try to push that down a little bit more. We're gonna get our chenille on this side. We're gonna hold it kind of tight. And this where if you got the Pete vise that's got the bobbin holder, by all means stretch it out and put it in the bobbin holder. To me, it kind of gets in the way. I don't like it and having to move it. I got so used with the muscle and hand control of doing them like this that I can't get used to that bobbin holder, and I won't force myself to do it. All right, so we're gonna start wrapping. We're not gonna double it or build it up. We're just gonna go one good wrap all the way down it. I got to the end. I need to show this a little bit more. I got my chenille sitting straight out. I'm gonna take my bobbin, I'm gonna put it on the other side of my chenille, then I'm gonna pull it up. That's how I tied in for the first time. Second time, I'm gonna go back around the head, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna twist my bobbin around it, pull back up, and I'm gonna catch it. Give it like 3, 4, 5 wraps. Now I'm gonna pull my chenille all the way out. I'm gonna catch it again with one more good wrap. Right there, just like that. And we're gonna cut our chenille loose. We're done with our chenille. We'll get our whip finish tool. And I can't find my good one. I don't think I've got different ones. No, that's it. I got 3 different ones, and they all are the same thing, but just a tad bit different in size. And this is my favorite. Pop that loose. Let's do it one more time. We're gonna, not only am I tying it to tie a knot, but I'm tying it to push some of that chenille back, because I want to get some UV resin down there inside that neck to hold them threads without trying to get UV resin all over the body, which it ain't gonna hurt. It's probably gonna benefit it more than it's ever gonna hurt it. 5mm eyes on a 1/16 ounce. I just tied 6 of them that were 1/8, and they work perfectly on an 1/8. And they're gonna be just a little oversized on a 16th, but we're gonna live with that, because like I said, that's what kind of sets this jig off. Anytime you UV resin coat one or you put eyes on them, the big eyes make them stand out, to make them pop. All right, our UV resin. I'm gonna lay it here on the side. I'm not gonna worry a whole lot about coating the whole head. I cured these in the oven for a little while. Well, it's dripping down that way, so we are going to cover the whole head. All right, cover the whole head with UV resin. It was running down, so I might as well just do it anyway. Not like I'm wasting a gallon of it on something, but get it on there and just kind of push it. You gotta like coat those threads. You just got to get a little bit on there to seal. It'll help seal that knot. Pushing it down in there, making sure the eyes brush back and forth, so that way if your eyes lifts up off your jig head just a little bit, that UV resin that's underneath of it is still going to help cure it. And I'm a big fan of the UV resin. That's the kind I use. It works. It cures good. I don't have very many issues with it. It's cheap. It's on my Amazon page. But it works. That was like one of the first bottles I'd ever tried. We're going to hit it with our light, which is also a link in the description. Right there, and we're just setting it up, not curing it. But if you sat here for a few minutes with it, you would cure it. But we're just gonna make it to where it's not going to drip. I know it's not going to run, so if I hit it with this light, it stops it. It seals it. Excuse me. In the other box with my other lights, that's where the real curing process takes place. It probably don't take them no more than 10 minutes maybe to harden up really, really good, but they'll sit in there for 12 hours. They're going to come pick these jigs up tomorrow, and they will sit in that box with all 3 UV lights shining on it, the lid closed. It's going to build up a little bit of heat, which I think helps also cure it. And then they'll be ready to slap a big old crappie in their mouth. I thought them crappie were going to be spawning. Took the boat out yesterday, and the lake temperature had dropped. It actually went down to 54 degrees, and them fish were staged out deep. The week before that, I was catching some on the other end of the lake that were spawning. So as soon as I get the fish back to where I know they're spawning, the boat will be back out, the camera will be on, and I'm just dying to get a good video of how I catch my spawning crappie. But there it is. Like, share, subscribe, and if you don't mind, please, if you're going to buy something, the link for everything is in the description below. And I'm still looking for those 50 subscribers to get a free guided fishing trip. So there it is. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this jig. And let me know if the crappie are spawning in your area. I'd like to hear about that. That's all I got, guys. See ya.